Mr. Santorum, what would you do to help with the taxes and the jobs and that the people wouldn't lose their jobs?
Did you plant him?
Great. Thank you very much for that question. Well, actually, you know, we put together, I said I may be a little boring, but our proposals are bold. We put together some bold proposals to try to get this economy going, because that's what we need. We need to get our, you know, we have an economy right now that the deficit, excuse me, the debt is now equal to 1-to-1, equal to the size of the economy. I mean, that's you have countries over in Europe that they're making go through austerity measures because of this imbalance, and yet here we are in America, and we're just trying to inflate the currency and print more currency so we don't have to run into the problems that Greece and Italy and the other countries, Spain and others, are going through over there. So this is a serious problem, and you need bold leadership and a bold plan to take the bull by the horns. We've put forward a plan we're going to cut $5 trillion over 5 years. We're going to get this budget deficit under control. We're going to get to a balanced budget and rein in government spending. We're going to set priorities. We're going to get responsibility out of Washington, D.C. and give it back to the states through the entitlement reform I've talked about. We're going to take discretionary spending and cut it dramatically, get rid of a lot of functions. I mentioned education is one that the federal government should be getting out of with respect to primary and secondary education. I talk about, you know, the cuts we need to make to the Labor Department. That's another one. We don't talk about the Labor Department. I mean, you talk about, you know, a department that is just, you know, exploded in this administration and in its micromanagement of how businesses operate in this country. One of the other areas, it's not a big department, but an important one, and one that I think is in need of, you know, uprooting and redoing, is the State Department. Throw on top of that, you know, we're going to put a freeze on hiring. We're going to do many reforms within the federal workforce. Freeze on pay, no pay increases. We're going to you know, cut the federal workforce. We're going to take, for example, the pension system that's in place right now. Private employers don't have these kinds of pension systems anymore. They don't have pensions and a 401k account. Well, federal employees have both. We can't afford this. You're pricing federal workers, you know, the amount of money we spend on federal workers is more than what the equivalent on the private sector gets. So we need to phase out, starting with new employees, we need to phase out the pension benefit. It's simply not something that we should be asking folks who don't work for the federal government, who don't have that benefit, to pay it for those who do work for the federal government. I don't know, I always used to remind kids who would come to meet with me, I'd say, you know what, I work for you, you don't work for me. And the taxpayer and federal workers have to understand that they work for the taxpayers, and to demand the taxpayers to pay them more than what they get is wrong. We're also going to have a very bold plan on the economy. We're going to, you know, eliminate the IRS in the sense that we're going to get rid of the old tax code and replace it with two tax rates, 10%, which is the current low rate, and 28%, which was the top rate under Ronald Reagan. I always say it was good enough for Ronald Reagan, and he could get it through a Democratic Congress, then we can get it through this Congress.